Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Sapphero SO1005M. Start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Thorn Amish Black Bay 58, and Greg was wearing my Octopus Kraken. Greg said Master Skywalker asked Pelimato to help out with Vacation Jedi School, and they invited all the kids in the neighborhood. He said it was so much fun. He learned how to decoupage a bantha on his lightsaber hilt, made a papier-mâché Death Star, and stitched a leather blaster holster with his name engraved on it. I said, what else did they do? He said they identified all of the Force-sensitive kids to become Academy younglings. I said, you mean the children that volunteered and checked with their parents? You mean the children that volunteered and checked with their parents? Alright, let's get the watch out of the box. And if you saw my unboxing, you can see that it just came with the instructions. And the instructions is the warranty card. And then we just have the watch and the couple links I removed. But here it is. It's a nice looking watch. I like it. This is the fourth Sapphero on my channel. Sapphero offers solid steel watches at a very affordable price, but unlike what the name would suggest, the crystals are glass and not sapphire. They don't lie about it. There are no false claims on the caseback or AliExpress ad. Fortunately, you have reviewers like me in case there is any confusion. Sapphire or no sapphire, this watch is very well made for the $20 I paid for it, which seems to be cheaper than it should be. I have a feeling that this unusually shaped bezel has driven some potential buyers away, as they would prefer the octagon shape of a royal oak or the porthole shape of a nautilus. This seems to be a hybrid mismatch of both that looks a little bit off. Steel, solid steel with a 100-meter water resistance for $20 is one heck of a deal, and if you can get over the bezel shape, you can have quite a watch. There are 5 different colorways. Besides this blue that looks a bit purple, there's also black and white dials. If you don't like the steel colored case and bracelet, you can also get a gold color and green or white dials. The watch is 42 millimeters wide if you measure at the case, 49.4 millimeters lug to lug. It's 12 millimeters thick. It looks a lot thicker than 12, but it's not. It's 12. Then lug width does not apply, but it's 25.6 millimeters at the end links. And it weighs 160 grams on the supplied bracelet with 2 links removed, so it's fairly heavy. Then we have the bezel. If you look at the bezel base, it's an octagon shape. But if you look at the top of the front of the bezel, it's more of a kind of a nautilus type shape, but not quite. Because even though it's kind of rounded like a nautilus, it has a round inside of the bezel. So it just kind of, it looks unusual. I have never seen a bezel that actually look like this before. So I don't know if I would prefer this over a nautilus shape or a royal oak shape. Probably not. But it still does look nice. Then the dial, we have a waffle pattern, and it also, this is supposed to be blue, but it really looks kind of purple to me. And then it has the Sapphero name and WR 100 meters up top, and then it has the Sapphero logo as the 12 o'clock index. And then we have the hands. We have Lume hands, and they're kind of skeleton at the very base, but it's not very long because the Lume takes up most of the hands. And then we have the second hand, and the second hand has a Lume counterbalance. The second hand itself is not Lume, but the counterbalance is. And then we have baton indexes, which are of course cut off where the subdials meet, and as you can see, the 6 o'clock subdial is a little bit shorter or a little bit smaller than the other subdials, so the 6 o'clock index is a little bit longer. And then we have a date at the 4:30. Some people don't like dates at the 4:30 on chronographs. I don't mind them. I'd rather have a date than no date. especially on a Quartz, because you're not winding it all the time and always setting the date. Then we have the 3 subdials. The one on the right is a 24-hour indicator. As far as I'm concerned, those are pretty much useless. I wish they would have done something else, like maybe a sub-second indicator. Then the left is the minute counter of the chronograph, and the bottom is the second counter of the chronograph. And this is a small second chronograph, as the big second hand is the running second hand. To operate the chronograph, just press the top pusher, and then it starts ticking. Once again, there are no sub-seconds. Then press it again to stop. Then the bottom resets it. That's about all you can do with it. Not a very useful chronograph without sub-seconds, but at least being a small second, it doesn't have a tachymeter, which really kind of bugs me if it's a small second and has a tachymeter. Then we have an unsigned push-pull crown, even though we have 100 meters of water resistance. The crown action isn't bad. It's kind of loose, but you can set it without the minute hand jumping as long as you hold it when you push it in. That didn't work very well because I wasn't holding it very well. Okay, let's try this again. Well, all right, let's try this one more time. Well, once again, you have to hold it steady when you push it in and it won't jump. It's just the crown action is kind of loose, so it's hard to hold it steady. Then once again, though, it was working fine before I did this video, which is always the case. Then we have a flat glass crystal. This is not sapphire, despite the name Sapphero, and it does just fine. You can see through it just fine. I mean, in all honesty, you need sapphire. And then we have the case. Case is solid steel. It's nicely brushed on the sides. And it has a polished chamfered edge right here where the lugs would normally be. Plus the tops are also polished. And looks like the bottoms are polished too. But it's a nice case. Really sturdy, heavy. Now these link connectors, the little indent here is fake. They do not articulate at all. And it's not that they're fixed, they're just not there. Then the case back, we have a polished case back. It is a screw down because you do get 100 meters of water resistance. Then it says all stainless steel, which is true. And then 100 meters water resistance. Then it gives the name and the logo and the model number. Then it says made in PRC, the People's Republic of China. I don't know the movement, and I doubt if anybody cares since it's a small second, and I'm sure it's made in China because if it was Japanese, they'd brag about it. This bracelet looks like an H-link, but it is not. It's really more of an oyster style, and the H-links are just grooves. This is not a 3-link bracelet where they're put together. This is strictly a single 1-link bracelet, and those are just markers to make it look like an H-link. But it is solid. And we have push pin adjusters, not screw pins, and I'm fine with push pins. I always say that I prefer push pins anyway. In fact, I almost lost a screw in one of my watches today, and I just barely found it in the carpet. It was like a miracle. And then we have a butterfly clasp. Of course, butterfly clasps, they look nice, but the trouble is you get no micro adjust, and these are some pretty big links. So I've been wearing this watch kind of loose, because if I removed another link, it'd be too tight, and I'd rather have it a little loose than too tight. But that's still unfortunate that there are no half links, at least. I kind of wish it had more of a PRX style bracelet, kind of like this long bay, where the links are a lot smaller. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. I think it looks nice. But once again, I'm wearing it a little bit loose because if I remove another link, it'll be too tight. which is unfortunate because this is a 160 gram watch. It's got some heft to it. So it'd be nice if I could just have a half link there. And once again, I removed 2 links. So a little bit bigger than 8 is the best you're going to do. Here we are in the Lume room, just wearing the watch. I actually noticed the Lume, which is always a good sign. As we sweep up the time, we see that the Lume isn't bad considering how much I paid for this. The indices are fading rather quickly, but it is the hands that matter, and they have some decent legs. Not great Lume, but decent considering the price and that it is not a dive style watch. What I like about this watch? Well, it's a solid steel watch with 100 meters water resistance at an ultra affordable price. And I like the waffle dial. I think it looks nice, even though I wish it was a bit bluer than purple. And the running secondhand hits the marks. What are my gripes and groans? Fake H-link bracelet. No micro adjust or half links for such a heavy watch. And I always complain about a chronograph with small seconds. Chronograph hand. Do I recommend this watch? Yes, it's a solid steel 100 meter watch for $20. How can I not recommend it? If you like this watch, I would recommend getting it now, as I have a feeling when they are gone, they are gone. There's not much room for profit selling this much watch at this price. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Sapphero 1005M. And I will be back with another review. I'll probably review that octopus that Grogo is wearing. I should probably get that out there. I have a feeling that might be a popular review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.